Time for another American Farm Bureau Convention update. Hi, everyone. Jim Bartles here. And our special guest on this broadcast is Maddie Weninger, who's representing the state of Minnesota and Minnesota Farm Bureau Federation in the discussion meet competition. We'll find out more about that from Maddie in just a little bit. Again, the Farm Bureau Convention, we're recording this on Monday, the convention going on through Wednesday, and then they have several follow-up meetings Thursday and Friday as well. So our reports will be going on through the week here on the Ingstead, Minnesota Radio Network. Maddie Weninger is with us. She's actually in South Dakota. And for those of you watching on Facebook or website, you know that we're shooting video of this as well. Maddie, a senior at South Dakota State. Give us a little background on your life and where you're at and what's coming up next.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually graduated from Howard Lake Waverly Winstead High School in 2017. So now I'm a senior at South Dakota State, majoring in ag education and Spanish, and not exactly sure what I'm doing after graduation, but looking forward to being involved in the industry. Super excited and honored to be representing Minnesota at the American Farm Bureau Federation Conference.
You and I have visited in the past. I've seen you at many FFA conventions in the past. You were a state officer also, weren't you? Your FFA background, you had quite a bit of things that you did.
Yeah, for sure. Competed in a lot of different career and leadership development events throughout high school. One of my favorite experiences was actually competing in parliamentary procedure at National FFA Convention and moving on to semifinals with my team. Had a great experience as a state FFA officer in 2017 to 18. And I was on an all girls team and learned a lot about myself and learned a lot about agriculture. And I guess that's the reason that I keep being involved in organizations like Farm Bureau. They make me feel so welcome and continually fuel my fire, especially for the continual lifelong learning part in me.
Your father is the legendary Jim Weninger, longtime advisor at Howard Lake Waverly Winstead, right?
Yes, he is.
And you had siblings also involved in FFA, right?
Yes. So my older sister, Abby, was really involved in FFA as well. So she's been a huge role model throughout my life. She actually competed in discussion meet a few years ago when she was in college as well. So kind of decided to take a shot at it. And she's always been a really big role model for me for wanting to do other things as well.
Maddie Weninger is our guest. We're talking about Farm Bureau, the American Farm Bureau Convention, and Maddie was a participant in the discussion meet. We're going to ask her about that. We're going to take a short little radio timeout. When we come back, we're going to find out what they discussed, what it was like, and how it's going to progress now during the convention. Stay tuned. Radio timeout right now for our Ingstead, Minnesota Radio Network. Maddie Weninger is our guest as we come back to you on our broadcast and going both on the radio and also on social media, website, and so forth. Maddie, a senior, was just graduating now from South Dakota State University out of Brookings. Okay, so folks that don't know, discussion meet. Number one, what is it? What do you discuss? Give us some background on what discussion meet's all about.
Yeah, for sure. So discussion meet it happens at multiple levels. So in Minnesota, we have like a regional discussion meet, and then you move on to the state discussion meet. And if you win state, you move on to the national level. So I competed originally in the regional discussion meet back in January 2020 before all the things with COVID happened, and that was in person. So moved on to the state discussion meet, and that ended up being virtual. So that was a very, very different experience. They give you 5 topics that you could potentially be talking about. So around, you do an introduction that is 30 seconds long, and then you have a discussion with the other panel members, I guess you could say. And that's about 25 minutes. And then you get a minute to wrap up your thoughts and then a minute to do a conclusion. So all in all, it's about a half-hour long event. During our 2 preliminary rounds here at Nationals, the first one, we talked about international trade and how we can continue to foster relationships with existing trade partners, but then also create new relationships with different countries. And then during this last preliminary round, we talked about different disasters that are happening within agriculture and how we can use different production practices and tools to either mitigate the risk with that or prevent it as well. So it's been a lot of fun learning from a lot of professionals in agriculture, especially in Minnesota. I feel so incredibly lucky to have been able to talk to people over the phone or over Zoom in the past few weeks about what's going on in agriculture and what their stance on it is.
So when you're in this panel, is it other competitors who are also part of the panel, or is it just other outside professionals?
Yeah, good question. So there are typically 4 people. And so at nationals, it's just like 3 people from 3 different states. So there's just 4 people sitting there having a conversation, and there's a moderator, but the moderator doesn't typically do anything until there are some disparaging remarks made. And that usually doesn't happen. Usually people are pretty civil.
So yourself and other people from other states, and then a
Mhm.
moderator, and then where are the judges in this whole event?
Yeah, so the judges are part of just the audience, I guess. We can't see their video or anything. So as competitors, the only videos that we are seeing are the other 3 competitors and then ourselves. So then it's genuinely just a conversation. But there are people that can view the discussion meet. So I think in the last couple that I've been on, there were 60 to 80 people in the audience. So really anyone can view it. Usually you go on to cheer on the person from your state.
Maddie, you finished the first couple preliminary rounds, but now they start to narrow it down. What happens next here with the Farm Bureau virtual convention?
Yeah, so tonight we will find out who makes it to the Sweet 16, and then those that make it to the top 16 will compete tomorrow. And then after that competition, they'll narrow it down to just the final 4, and then the final 4 will compete on Wednesday. So I'm excited to see who makes it and what the conversations look like.
Well, Maddie, if you make that final 4, we're probably going to be touching base with you again. That'd be pretty exciting and pretty cool to do. You know, if this COVID wasn't around, you'd be sitting in San Diego right now, right?
Yes, I would be.
and that'd be a blast as well. So anyway, Maddie, anything else in your Farm Bureau background? Where did that initially come from, and what do you hope to continue to do with it down the road?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess my partnership or involvement with Farm Bureau kind of started when I was really young, mostly in high school. My other ag teacher, Sina Glessing, got me really involved in that. And her husband is actually the vice president of Minnesota Farm Bureau. So they were continually partnering our FFA chapter with Farm Bureau events. And I have a lot of other great Farm Bureau supporters in Howard Lake, Waverly, and Winsted that have just continually pushed me to do more and more in the organization. And like I said before, I feel so lucky to have people in Minnesota that have pushed me as well to do the best that I can and kept me involved in all things with Farm Bureau. So I've been to a few different conferences with them. I'm excited to see what the future holds as a professional in agriculture. I think there will be a lot more opportunities for me no matter where I end up. And I think that's the great part is as someone who didn't grow up in agriculture, on a farm specifically, I have learned so much from these individuals that some of them live on farms and some don't, but they are super knowledgeable about specific parts of agriculture. And I love learning about the industry. So I'm super excited to see what happens in the future.
Maddie Weninger is our guest on our broadcast, competing in the discussion meet on the national level with Farm Bureau. Yeah, Sheena and her husband, Dan. I've known Dan now for a while, and Sheena I've known for many years. Actually emceed the Region Dairy Princess contest when she was crowned a Region Dairy Princess, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
So we go back a long ways. Well, Maddie,
Yes.
appreciate your time. Thanks so much. And again, good luck now in the judging and how they get to the Sweet 16 and beyond that, the Final 4. If that all can happen, would be great. If it doesn't, you still had a heck of an experience, and we're proud of you and appreciate you representing Minnesota in the discussion meet competition. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Maddie Weninger is with us here on our broadcast on the Inkstead, Minnesota Radio Network. Again, Strong Together, that's the theme for this year's Farm Bureau Convention. It was going to be in San Diego, now virtual convention, and we'll have more reports and broadcasts and videos that we'll be posting on Facebook and website. They'll be coming up here in the next few days during this week of the convention. Jim Bartles reporting.